Noodlz ain't no simple soup, nah. Swirling on my fork with all the wisdom you scoop. But from the mind of my favorite, it's a savory loop. Hey, in this bowl of knowledge, every slurp I recoup. We be chilling in the kitchen with the steam so true. Crafted by a genius, every spoonful's a clue. Into life, into love, in the broth thought stew. And I'm just sitting here wondering what's the next breakthrough.
Welcome back to Noodlz Bowl. Today we're talking about One Piece. Not all of One Piece in its all entirety. I haven't seen all of the show yet, so I couldn't even do that if I wanted to. We're going to be breaking the arcs down arc by arc, and today the arc we're discussing is Thriller Bark. You like the way I did that? I first off want to say that this arc was not bad. Everybody set it up, even the person that I watched the show with, set up for the arc to be like the worst arc, the most boring arc. I will say in the beginning, it was boring, but I mean, I feel like it was just lackluster in comparison to Alabasta, everything in East Blue. I feel like it was just lackluster, but Thriller Bark was probably one of the most exciting arcs I've seen, but I still am new to the show, so maybe I'll see more impressive arcs as I continue. This is the introduction of one of my favorite characters. I actually really like Brook. I don't like him more than I like Sanji, and I'm certain that the more I continue the show, the more I'm gonna like Sanji over Brook. But if I was to have a different favorite character, it probably would be Brook. I like Brook. Brook is pretty cool. He's corny, but I'm corny as well. I feel like me and him kind of mesh well together. I'm gonna skip a little ahead to try to keep this short. I probably won't do this for future episodes, but just this one in general, I want to keep it short because I want to get to the next one that I want to do. Anyways, this is where Zoro finds one of his other swords, one of his swords that he uses to this day. I still see him with that sword around his waist. I may be tweaking, I may be seeing things differently, but he has one of his swords he still uses to this day. And I also like, it's a very small thing, but I also like the fact that in the screen changes, you know, when it drops, like in Japan, this would be when it goes to commercial and it shows one of the characters flying on the screen, and then it shows something about them, and then it cuts to either the commercial or it cuts back to the show. In Zoro's, his new sword is there, and that's pretty cool to me. Also, the way that he got it fighting the Master Swordsman, that battle was masterpiece level swordplay. I love that. And the fact that he was like, he commended him and just dropped his sword off the roof to Zoro, that was fire. Usopp has had some moments that has made it kind of questionable. I think my least favorite member of the Straw Hats is Frankie. I'll talk about that later. Maybe I'll talk about it in the next Saba Odi video, but I won't talk about it in this video. But most people's least favorite member is Usopp because of like the discussion that he had back in Water 7 or Aqua 7. I'm not too sure what the name of it is, but the discussion he had back with him, we had a disagreement and all the other stuff. They really don't like Usopp. In this arc, Usopp has a really good moment. It's for a bad reason, but Usopp still has a really good moment against Perona. Zoro got beaten. I'm pretty sure Frankie got beaten, and I'm pretty sure Sanji got beaten as well by her. But actually, I don't think Sanji was there. I think he was fighting Lion Face, whatever his name was, Absalom or whatever his name is. But Usopp couldn't get beaten because he was already a really pessimistic person. He's like the epitome of pessimistic, so much so that his enemy was like, "You can do it, bro. I don't know what you're fighting against, but you got this." And then he was able to kind of beat Perona, but he was able to scare the shit out of her to the point that she passed out. And I feel like people should give him more props on that. I don't feel like he did like crazy things, but he still, like, he did that, you know. He still beat her in a sense, and he was able to get away and make her not a threat to the Straw Hats anymore. I feel like people don't give Usopp enough credit for that. It's, at least in the videos that I make, I see people still dragging Usopp through the mud. So I don't know if we go further down the storyline and they get worse, maybe so. But for this moment, he was pretty cool. We eventually learned that lion man I was talking about earlier was a person that was invisible and in the bath with Nami on some weirdo shit. And also, you know who else is on some weirdo shit? Mr. Hogback. This dude resurrected his celebrity crush just so he could control her from the afterlife. If that isn't the weirdest shit I've ever heard in my life, I don't know what is. Echo Moria. I call him Big Purple Onion. I don't know if that's something that's gonna stick, but Big Purple Onion, man, he is the worst warlord that I feel like we've seen so far. We've only seen, we haven't. I'm not too sure on the warlords that we've seen. I know Kuma comes next. I'm gonna talk about him eventually, which is another reason I don't feel like Thriller Bark is that bad. But Gecko Moria is the most laziest warlord ever. He literally said himself, I'm gonna make everybody else around me do the job for me so I don't have to do it. And I feel like, man, that's a CEO corporate level laziness right there. Eventually down the line, we meet these pirates that have gotten their shadow stolen, Lola and her crew. And they eventually stuff all these shadows after a great little bit of dialogue. They stuff all these shadows inside of Luffy and make Bizarro Luffy. It's like Nightmare Luffy, but like, how could I not relate that to Bizarro Superman? That's literally like night and day, almost like yin and yang type beat. It's really cool to see a different form of Luffy and like how serious it made Luffy. Another thing is, at this point, we see Robin's shadow get cut. And I also want to touch on that too, because where the fuck where the fuck does Gecko Moria store these scissors? Does he store them in his ass? Honestly, I want to know, because I never thought about that when he was in the castle. I thought he just had a giant pair of scissors on a shelf that he gets and he cuts the shadows with. But in the scene, we just see him snip Robin's shadow when she starts winning the fight for them. And it's like, where the fuck was he hiding? Was it in oars? Speaking of oars, he's a big behemoth ass dude that has Luffy's shadow in him. But where the hell does Moria store these scissors? And at this point, Oars is fighting all of the Straw Hats, and it's a really climactic scene. They're all getting beat, they're all getting thrashed with the help of Gecko Moria's shadow, you know, making sure that they don't get that salt inside of the zombie's mouth, because if you do that, that purifies them. And they've been trying their hardest to do that, and Gecko Moria has been stopping them at every single point, to the point that he was gonna almost defeat Usopp and Nami. I'm pretty sure either is Nami or Robin. And Nightmare Bizarro Luffy comes in and saves the day. He arrived on some, you know how in Dragon Ball, if you've watched Dragon Ball, how Goku arrived in the Saiyan saga, it gave me those types of vibes. Like, he arrived at just the last moment and saved the day, and that was pretty cool to me. Luffy straight drags Oars and Gecko Moria. Like, he's picking them up on some Hulk and Loki type timing. Boom, 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 boom. Like, it was crazy. The way that he was able to dog walk Oars was just insane. I mean, who better to beat Luffy than Luffy? And also a hyper powered up Bizarro version of Luffy. He eventually ran out of time and all the shadows left him. But the Straw Hats, they all were beaten, but they all got back up and got on time, and they got in positions. Lola and her crew was like, what the fuck? I thought you were dead. Nah, man, I'm up here with my slingshot ready to aim down on that body. You feel me? People downplayed this arc, but I'm not certain, but is this the first time we've seen Gear 3? Like, his big balloon, not balloon form, because we've seen that when he's like dodging shots from other warships and stuff like that. But the big arm, the big leg, like giant stamp, giant pistol, giant things of that nature, and it makes him turn little. Is this the first arc that we've seen that? Because if so, there's no way this arc is like the worst arc. Bro, we met Brook. We've seen Zoro get a new sword. Usopp has a killer, legendary, brave moment. Oars like exists. Bizarro Luffy gets shown and teased. I'm pretty sure it's never gonna happen again, maybe, but that happens in this arc. And then it's more stuff in this arc. I don't see how this arc is like a sleeper arc. I don't feel like people could skip this. Like, I don't see how. Moria is done. But then he slurps over 1,000 shadows up. And it's like, man, why won't you go down? The only saving grace in this is that he's probably never done this. He can't even fucking control it. So how many times has he actually done this? How many times has he actually been able to do this for him to not even be able to control his own ability? You think since he's a shadow user, shadow puppet user, he'd be able to control it, but even he is like spewing out shadows because he can't stomach all of them, no pun intended. So Gecko Moria ends up getting defeated, but I just want to take a pause right there. Gecko Moria getting defeated and then the sunlight coming up and burning everybody that didn't have a shadow, bro, I would have been pissed if I was watching this on a weekly basis and I wasn't watching this through Crunchyroll or Funimation is dead, but Funimation or Netflix or something, bro. If I didn't have that, if the show hadn't already progressed way past that and I was watching on a weekly basis, bro, oh my God, I would have been pissed. I would have been so heated. You mean to tell me all of my characters that I know and love just got burned to a crisp from the sunlight like they were vampires, and I can't find out what's happening until next week? And you know how One Piece is. Maybe we went on a freaking hiatus. Well, probably not, because it's in the middle of an arc. But you get me? Imagine waiting a week long after your favorite character got burned to smithereens. Well, not smithereens, but halfway burned is more burned than anything. What I learned from this though is, once everybody started getting the shadows back because Moria was defeated and all the shadows started spewing out and the things that led up to that moment, Oda really knows how to wrap up shows. Like, not wrap up shows, but wrap up, well, we haven't seen a wrap up show yet, but he really knows how to wrap up arcs. Well, at the point that I thought it was going to be wrapped up, I guess, but he really knows how to wrap things up, because the way that people started reacting when I got their shadow back, and at this point it's been like 10 years or more, or 5 years at least, like, it made me think, like, what would I do if I finally got my shadow back and I've been hiding in the sewers like a fucking rat, and all of a sudden I look down and I see my shadow, I'm like, oh, I can go step in the sunlight, oh, I can go be with my family again. I haven't seen my family in 10 years, hopefully they're not all dead. Like, oh my God, and even if they are, bro, I can live life again. I can be in the sunlight again. I can go to restaurants. I don't know how bad life is in the One Piece world, on like literally pirates with superpowers running around and the world government is on some heinous toxic shit. But you know, life is probably good in certain places where they got their shadow snatched up. It's literally a princess or a queen or something that got their shadow snatched, and she broke like all these expensive plates and jewelry, and the dude was like, yo, and then he saw that she got her shadow back because she told him, and it was like the cutest scene ever. It's like, you got your shadow back? Wow. I don't even care about those expensive plates, man. You can go live again. Like that, bro, I can't imagine if that was me. Because if it was me in this world, I don't know where I would be. I probably would be one of them homeless people living under the sewer. I don't know what to do. My shadow's gone. I lost my arm because it burned off. Like, what? Like, I wouldn't know what to do in that circumstance. So seeing everybody get their shadow back in that moment, really cool. Especially for the Straw Hats and especially for Lola's crew. Awesome. It's at this point where we meet another warlord, a warlord that Nami saw earlier, but she couldn't inform everybody that she saw. A warlord that touched Perona and sent her to the abyss. At this point, we don't know where the fuck he sent Perona. And that warlord's name is Bartholomew Kuma, which is a crazy name. When I heard Bartholomew, I just started laughing, but I knew he was about to like go off. I knew he was around here for demon time, so it wasn't really funny, because I'm seeing like him slap people's stomachs and send them through buildings. And then he has like paws on his hand that Zoro tried to stab, and his sword just like put-dung! Like it was crazy. So at a point he starts beating everybody. He's like, okay, I give you the ultimatum. You guys can all save your lives, but you have to hand me that Straw Hat Luffy's head. And obviously everybody is like thinking about it, but they're not really thinking about it. They're like, really? That's all we gotta do? Hell no, we're not doing that. For the Straw Hats, they were instantly like, they all looked at each other and was like, he loaded this guy. He thinks we're gonna sell out our captain for our own lives. Square up, pussy. Like let's literally run that fade, bro. Like you feel me? It's at this point where like he defeats all of them again. I mean, he literally launches an air nuke. I don't know how some of these pirates even survived. I have no idea. Zoro can take a punch. Sanji can take a punch. Everybody else, KO. But Sanji and Zoro are fighting each other to see who can give their own head or give their own life in exchange for Luffy's. They think that Luffy has this big goal, this big idea. Zoro steps up to the plate. Sanji is apparently still alive and kicking after taking that air nuke, and he steps up to the plate, and Zoro knocks out Sanji on some you remember how Vegeta did when he hit the side of Trunks, or hit the side of somebody just so they can like live, and then Vegeta can go sacrifice himself? Zoro did the same thing. It was really cool to see that moment. And then he was like, you know what, I got one step up for you. This is the pain, this is all of the pain that Luffy has felt throughout this whole battle, throughout this whole island, the exhaustion, the fatigue, the pain, the strife, the worry, and all of this. This big ball of redness is what he has felt. Here's a little piece. Ah! Is what Zoro does when he gets that little piece of Luffy's pain, hardships, everything. Only a little bit of it. And Zoro's like, man, man, I don't want to do this, but jumps hands, arms first into the ball of pain. And everybody's waking up, everybody's getting up, enjoying life. And we're like, the only person that's like, where is Zoro is Sanji, because he looks around, everybody's okay, everybody's fine, but he doesn't see Zoro. And he knows that Warlord was trying to kill either Luffy, Sanji, or Zoro, and he doesn't see him. So immediately he's like, yo, where's my moss head, bro? Where's my boy? Where's my master swordsman? I need him, bro. He finds him in a random location. He's like, oh, you have me worried. I guess you defeated him. That's pretty cool, bro. What the fuck? Where'd all this blood come from? Where'd all that blood on you come from? Did you bleed this much? How are you alive? What happened? And Zoro says, full of pain, full of disarray, eyes bloodshot. Nothing happened. He struggles to say that, but again, the coolest shit. I always have an altercation with my roommate that I watch the show with, and their favorite character is Zoro, and I'm always like trying to defend Sanji, and he's trying to defend Zoro about who's the better character. It's kind of like we're Zoro and Sanji because we're always fighting about who's the better character. And in this moment, I want to say that Sanji could have done that if he had been given the chance, but Zoro did do it, and that was really cool of Zoro to do. I like how they try to keep it a secret as well, from Luffy and from like the rest of the pirates. Robin apparently puts an ear on one of the other pirates that tell the story about what happened, because Sanji doesn't know what happened, so he goes and asks these two pirates that did see what happened, because apparently they hid in shelter, so Kuma couldn't target them, so they didn't get hit by that air nuke. So he asks them what happened. He tells them the whole story of what I just told you guys. And then Robin apparently sticks an ear on one of the dudes and hears the whole story as well. So Robin, Zoro, and Sanji all know what happened, but they don't tell Luffy, and they don't tell the rest of the crew, because obviously if Luffy knew the pain that he put Zoro through, I'm pretty sure Luffy would go after Bartholomew. And they didn't want that to happen. They didn't want somebody to make him go after a warlord, I'm pretty sure. And they also it's just a pride thing for Zoro to like be a man and just take the pain instead of being worried about, I'm pretty sure is what he wanted as well. Brook's pain is on par with Robin's, but Robin's is way up there. But I'm just thinking about it like, would you rather your country get nuked, which is crazy, which is insane. That's insane. That's insane. That's insane. And Brooks does not compare at all, now that I'm thinking about it. But Brook has had a crew since the beginning. He has had a crew, and they all have died, and he is the only person left from that crew. And the only thing that has kept him standing, the only thing that has kept him fighting, is the memories of his crew and a big whale named Laboon. And you got to remember, like, he had to find his body. He had to find his body amongst all of his crewmates. He has been stacking up piles and piles of bones from his crewmates. Every time he picks up something with somebody's medallion or a hair or something that makes him remember who that person is, he has all those memories unlocked with that person. It's so sad. It's super sad. It's not on the level of Robin's, but it is still pretty sad. I'm pretty sure Luffy at this point has the Vivid card of Ace, and he immediately leaves that island. I'm not sure if that's because he cares about Ace. Well, obviously he cares about Ace, but I'm not sure if that's why, or if he just was like, let's set sail and just go to a different island. Because later down the line, something happens with Ace to where he like shifts his emotion on that. I'll talk about that in the Sabaody arc breakdown, Noodlz Bowl, whatever. But in this arc, it's kind of like he knows that he kind of says Ace got it. Ace has everything handled. Even though his vitality is really low, whatever he's going through, he's good. So I don't know why he grabs the Vivid card and is immediately like, let's set sail. Because in my head, I'm thinking, oh, he's gonna go rescue Ace, or whatever Ace is going through, he's gonna go rescue him. But he says Ace got it. So I'm not too sure what sprung, like what made him immediately say, paper burn, let's set sail. But that's what he did, and that was a good way to wrap up this arc. I feel like everything with this arc was really, Oda was trying to go for that creepy crawly spider type vibe, that really haunted house type vibe, which I feel like they nailed right on the head. And I don't know. People say that Thriller Bark is one of the worst arcs. I don't agree. Thriller Bark is actually really cool with the fact that Zoro has his new sword because he had a broken sword. Now he has a brand new sword that he can use for his 3-style sword skills. Brook is a new character. We get to see Brook. We learn about Brook's past. Everybody's past is pretty sad, but Brook has one of the most saddest. Definitely, I feel like Zoro's past is some funny shit to me. I know I'm gonna get hate for that, but just like his close friend dying because they fell down some stairs is just hilarious to me. His greatest rival died to stairs, and people in the show be dying to air nukes. I just feel like, I'm sorry, every time I hear about Zoro's past, I start laughing. I know it's fucked up, but I'm sorry, it's just hilarious to me. But Zoro has an amazing character moment. Sanji could have had an amazing character moment. Usopp did have a crazy goddamn, I keep stumbling over my words, but character moments. Everybody had a good character moment in this show, in this arc. Even Robin had a good character moment in the show. In this arc. I keep saying show. They all have good character moments in the show, you fucking bozo. Anyways, I feel like this arc was really good, and Oda wrapped it up pretty well. If people say it's one of the most underrated, or it's one of the most overrated ones, I feel like it's very underrated. It's very slept on. Thriller Bark is really good. But yeah, if you enjoyed this Noodlz Bowl, make sure to hit the subscribe button, that like button, and the little bell to show me some extra love. And other than that, I have nothing to say, but I can't wait to show you guys the other Noodlz Bowls that I'm cooking up. And if there's a show that you want me to cover that you think I have seen, that's most likely in my banner on my profile when you click view on my channel, I will cover any one of those. Leave down in the comments and I will discuss that. Other than that, I'm making new content for you guys each day, and I can't wait to bring it to you guys. And yeah, love you guys.